Hi everybody, Father Jim, Masked Priest. Hope you're all wearing yours. I got a brand new one with the cross and everything on there. Pretty nice. Anyway, I just want to bring you up to date for some important things that are happening in our parish, some important events. One is the St. Faustina Mini Youth Ministry Basket Raffle fundraiser, and that's going to be held this Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be held from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on both days, and it's going to be at the Cultural Center. I've seen some of the baskets. There are over 150 baskets, and they're really wonderful baskets. There's great things. And it's going to be in there, and we're going to be limited to 25 people at a time, but that won't be a problem. Just go in and choose the basket you'd like to win, and then just leave. And it's also air conditioned, and there will be also a takeout food will be available at the same time. So that's really good. And the other thing is, this is in our parish bulletin, because we didn't have a bazaar this year, a festival, all the wonderful food that we always enjoy was greatly missed. And so some wonderful people decided, let's make all the festival food, like potato pancakes, halushki, piggies, mini Manhattan clam chowder, and shrimp bisque. Sounds pretty good. And that'll be available at the Grove, and that'll be on Saturday, August 15th, from noon until 6 p.m. And of course, it'll be for takeout only. If we should have rain on that date, then it will be the next day, Sunday, August 16th. So I invite you to think about those both, and also the food takeout, mini bazaar takeout food is, the project is in conjunction with the Newport Township Fire Department and St. Faustina Parish, so we share the profits. I think it's a good thing for both. Anyway, the other thing that's going on in our parish is we're trying to get our First Communion in, and as well as confirmation, which we'll talk about later. But our goal this year was to give the kids an important memory of their First Communion Day, even though we were restricted on seating and masks and the whole thing. But we divided the class up into two, so we had one last Saturday and another one this Saturday. And what the purpose of that was so that they could invite more of their family members to be able to be present and still obtain the social distancing. But you know, I've always found that the little second graders, their attention span is not always the greatest. They are just full of energy, and I wish I had half their energy. And so I try to do something that's going to get their attention. And I've done some crazy things. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I've been doing it for years, actually. But I'm sure, like all of us, we've had gifts given to us over the years by people. And the gift itself is just a remembrance of the person. And I think that's the real joy behind it all. And I've been given some crazy gifts over the years. Can you imagine that? And one is I got a wonderful set of bedroom slippers. Don't you just love them? There's a set right and left. You just see me sitting around watching television with these bedroom slippers on. The kids love these, by the way, but they say, I always ask them, does that look like Father Jim? And they all, cute little kids, they all say, yeah, it does. But anyway, this is one. And I remember the couple, very, very wonderful friends of mine from my first parish, who gave me these one Christmas. And every time I see these bedroom slippers, as crazy as they are, I think of them. They remind me of this wonderful couple that I've known. One of the favorites of the kids is this one. And this was given to me by, believe it or not, an Episcopal priest in Montrose. And I'm not sure why I got it, but this is what it is. And my kids love to see that one. So every time I see this, it doesn't sound very good to say this, but I think of her. But not because of what it is, but just that she took time out to go and shop and buy me this. And so I think I remember her for her kindness. One of my first weddings this was in Our Lady of the Snows, a young couple. We just got along so well, and so after they got married, they came by with this gift. Now it's kind of getting worn out, but watch what happens. You have to open the door yourself, and a bald, fat priest steps out. I'm not so sure if that's what they thought I was going to be someday, but I'm getting there. But every time I see this, I think of Paul and Tina, two young couples. They're now married a few years with a family, but I remember them every time I see this, and that's really important. And then, got lots more. And then we have these. And a friend of mine would always kid me I couldn't see without glasses, so he said, I'm gonna get you glasses. So he got me glasses, and here I am. What do you think? Is it me or what? So his name was Roger, and every time I see these glasses, I think of Roger. Reminds me of my friend Roger. And then, so I have a lot more funny ones, but here's one right here. This choir director, the music director in Montrose gave me this. It says, you can sing great at any age. I think she gave it to me as a joke because there's no age where I was able to sing. But anyway, I read it, it didn't seem to work. But I'd like to show you some other gifts that I've been given over the years. And so I remember the music director, Gene, from this book, and all these other people I told you about. But when I was in the seminary studying for the priesthood in our second year, we had a field trip to a prison in Massachusetts, one of the state penitentiaries. And they put us into groups. And every group had an inmate who talked to what prison life was all about and could ask questions. And I just struck up a friendship with one of the young inmates. His name was Kenny, and he was in there for a long time. And finally, and there's a long story behind Kenny too, but I don't have time to go into that today. But he was paroled, and we met one time in Massachusetts for lunch at the Wayside Inn, the old Inn of Longfellow, and we had a nice lunch together. And after the lunch was over, he disappeared. I couldn't find him. And he was in the gift shop, and he bought me this. And every time I see this, I think of Kenny and our friendship. And he had a long, hard life, but he was a good guy. So this is my reminder of Kenny. And then there are other things too that I'd like to share with you. When I was also in Clark Summit, in fact, my very first assignment, Lordsmont School for Girls was in nearby, and it was staffed by the Sisters of the Good Shepherd. And one of the older sisters, Sister Joan Udiga, we just happened to have a good friendship. I used to take her to Jim Dandy's up there and have lunch. But anyway, before she passed away, she gave me this, which is a statue, beautiful statue of the Good Shepherd. And so every time I see this statue, and I have it in my office very prominently displayed, I think of Sister Joan and our friendship and our wonderful sessions at Jim Dandy's in Clark Summit. And I know when she died, I had her funeral and her burial on the grounds of Lordsmont in Clark Summit. But this is her statue that she had many years through her religious life. And so this is very, very important to me. And when our kids are preparing for First Holy Communion in the fall of that year, we have a wonderful event called the Blessing Cup Ceremony. And for many years, it was conducted by Sister Gertrude Grimes, who just did so many things for us. Sister Gertrude is now confined to a nursing home, but we used to give them a chalice called the Blessing Cup. And we'd ask them to take this cup home, and their families were there when I told them all this. And every time they had a special event in their family, like maybe a birthday or Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day or any time at all, to have a little meal together and maybe put a little juice or something in here and pass it around as a symbol of unity among them in their family. And so, but every time I see this, I think of that event, but I especially think of Sister Gertrude, who was so instrumental in making all this happen. And that's important. Now, we always give our First Communion kids a gift, and it contains a book which explains the Mass in children's terms. We ask them to bring them to Mass with them, a scapular and rosaries and other little items like that. And I tell them that when I received my First Holy Communion, and by the way, this is my picture, kind of beat up, but so am I. And that's my mother and father on my First Communion day. Maybe some of you out there remember that boys wore white suits. That was my white suit that I wore. But anyway, I also, in fact, I'm holding it right here. If you can see it, I don't know if you can't, but I'm holding this. And this was a prayer book that my mom and dad gave to me. But actually, it came from my mother's brother, Bob Travis, who lived on 126 Espy Street in Nanticoke. And the First Holy Communion was celebrated at St. Francis Church back in 1926. So when I got my First Holy Communion, my mother and father gave me this book, which was his. And that was a very special time in my life. And I received Holy Communion on May 29th, 1949. And whenever I tell the kids it was 1949, they all go, whoa, they think I'm a dinosaur, which they're probably not too wrong from. But anyway, so every time I see this book, this wonderful prayer book, I think of, first of all, my mom and dad, but I also think of my first Holy Communion day, all these memories. So all these things, all these objects I showed you, are remembrances of people who were special to me, and I'm sure you have your house and your lives filled up with the same thing. But I also show them this, and I said, every time you see this, every time you see Jesus on the cross, remember Jesus and remember how much he loves us, because he was willing to go through this for us, because he loves us that much. There was no limit to his love. So I said, every time, have a cross, have a crucifix hanging over your bed at home or somewhere in your room or in your house. That is a constant reminder. Every time I see that, say, boy, Jesus, you really, really love me to do something like that. And so I show them that, and they're usually pretty attentive to that. But here's the big switch. All these are remembrances of different people in my life. But then I said, what Jesus did for us, and this, of course, is not consecrated, but this, he told us something at the Last Supper. He took bread, and he said, this is not bread, this is my body. And then he took wine, and he said, it's not wine, this is my blood. And then he said, do this in remembrance of me. But the big thing to remember when I see this is not Sister Joan. This is not Sister Joan. This is just a remembrance of Sister Joan. But this is not just a remembrance of Jesus. This is Jesus. This is my body. This is my blood. And so we try to get the kids to understand, the difference. That it's not just a symbol. It's not just a nice remembrance. It is Jesus. Now, this, of course, is not consecrated, but I'm talking about when we do this at Mass. And that's what we try to get across. And then I kind of give them a little zinger on this one, too. I tell them that if Sister Joan said to me that day, I'd like you to have this so that you can always remember me. That's my gift to you. And I said, well, it's nice, but I have a lot of those things, and I don't really need one more. No, I don't think I want it. And I asked the kids, how do you think Sister Joan would feel? And they all, she'd be sad. She'd be hurt. I said the same thing with Kenny when he gave me this that day at the restaurant. I said, I have lots of stuff like that. I don't need another one, Ken. Thank you anyway. He would be very hurt because he gave me a gift and I was refusing it. So I tell them, what do you think Jesus would feel when he says to us, I want to give you me as my gift. I want you to receive me into your heart as a gift. And we say, well, it's Sunday morning. I'd rather roll over and go to bed, go to sleep, or I have basketball practice or something that's more important right now. How do you think Jesus feels when that happens? And they all agree, oh, he's probably very sad. So I said, I know you don't want to make Jesus sad. So I'd ask you to come every Sunday or Saturday night to come and receive the gift of Jesus, who is the Eucharist, which is Jesus himself. So we hope it works, and I hope that to take it seriously, but at least I think our kids go away with remembrance of that, and it'll be with them for the rest of their lives. So thank you for listening. We're going to have another session of First Communion on Saturday, second half of the class, and then we're going to begin working on confirmation, our 25 8th graders haven't received the sacrament yet because of, the shutdown. But we're getting ready to prepare for that and reschedule it. So in the meantime, I just ask you all to be safe. I know we're all weary wearing these things and doing all the things we have to do, but it's a very serious virus out there, and we have to do all we can to control it. So I'd like to ask God's blessing upon all those who have died from the virus, 155,000 or so in this country alone. And be safe and wear the mask. And we ask God's blessing on you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless and have a good week, and be safe.